My name is Scott Henderson. I'm the Managing Director of CauseShift, and I'm your Phil Donahue for the night. You're a stand-up comedian as well sometimes. Who knows what will come out tonight. But really appreciate you taking time out of your evening and being part of it tonight. I wanted to kind of just initially kind of explain to you the big frame, a little bit more of just reminding you why we're gathering tonight, how we're going to do this, and then introduce the people that you'll be hearing from. We intentionally have kept this focus to a smaller venue and smaller audience because of the intensity of the conversation that we want to have. But we also are challenging you to create, to solve some big problems in a short amount of time. So there might be a little frustration for you in this process tonight, just because we are asking each of the breakout teams to, address a pretty big question in only a 45-minute time period. And this is definitely something where we're moving in a huge shift. We're seeing a huge shift in the world, and so this is an opportunity for us to really play in a sandbox together. So tonight's about provoking new thought, shifting mindsets, and experimentation of ideas. So nothing's off the table. So as you break into the groups and come up with the ideations, no, there is no crazy idea. We actually welcome crazy ideas. So tonight is made possible in a partnership with CauseShift, my firm, and Oxfam International. Where's Louis? I just saw. There he is, Louis. Louis actually emailed me in December, and we had worked together at the UN Week with the Digital Media Lounge, and he said, "Hey, we want to have a conversation about keeping people engaged with these big crises. It'd be fun to have," and so we actually ended up with tonight, and thanks to his partnership with YNR, we have access to this great center. I don't know if you've ever been in here, but it's a great leadership center. So Louis and I have been going through there was a lot of opportunity for us to say, let's just forget about this idea, with venue challenges, date challenges, but we got to pull together. So it was meant to be as it came to be. So I did want to, at least on the front end, recognize Louis. You'll hear more about Louis later on because he's helping out with one of the sections. But again, the question is, why are we here? Why we're here is that we have a huge shift in the way that we can connect nowadays. It's gone from the one to many to the many to many approach. And so that really provides us with great opportunity to how we respond to humanitarian crises, whether they be man-made or nature-inflicted. And so tonight, the idea is to gather people from media, gather people from humanitarian organizations, and gather people from other sectors who may not always be working in this space to think of the new ways and to think of new ideas. So we're going to have a little bit more time with the four who were able to make it, and I think you'll find that it's a very fascinating collection of people. Aisha and Kathleen, Sri and Stephen each come from a different background with a different perspective and with a different take. And we'll introduce them, actually Brian will introduce them as they come up. To moderate this conversation, this great collection of pearls, I guess, a string of pearls, is Brian Reich. And Brian Reich just started today as the Senior Vice President and Global Editor of Edelman Digital, is an author, actually working on his second book called The Shift. Has been a direct digital strategist doing a wide variety of things, and actually brags that the best thing that came out of the recount in Florida was he and his wife coming together. So he worked for Al Gore as vice president and during his presidential election. So without further ado, I'd like to bring Brian, our instigator and high-octane moderator, up to bring the other four out.
So thank you. So a couple quick housekeeping things just to get started. One, here, pass this down. Thanks. One is the way that we're trying to run the event and the way that we try to run sort of all of these kinds of conversations is this balance of sort of the content creation and the conversation that we want to have and then the brainstorming. And the reason we do that is because I think when you get into a conversation about something like responding to humanitarian disasters, it's very easy to fall into a predictable pattern, if you will. At least from my perspective, the vast majority of the time and energy that is spent having conversations about responding to crisis and engaging around serious issues and things like that, ultimately falls into a category of awareness building. And it's not that awareness building isn't important. It is critically necessary that people know when things are happening around the world and what those things are. But it's very challenging to move people and shift their behavior to get people to take the types of actions that are going to have a constructive response if we're stuck in this continual awareness building thing. So we structure the event into two parts because what I hope over the next 40-45 minutes with these conversations is that we will push people past kind of their embedded assumptions, that we will make all of you a little uncomfortable with some of the things we're saying or some of the things we're criticizing, so that when we get into these brainstorms in the second half and we're trying to solve these problems and we're trying to put some new ideas out on the table, we resist that urge to fall into the same old predictable conversations, the same old things. And you'll hear me both in the questions I ask in this conversation and I think in sort of visiting some of the brainstorms and things like that, criticize or challenge or play devil's advocate around some things that, probably on their face, aren't worthy of criticism, but when criticized might, open up some other avenues. The other thing that we like to do, and it's part of the reason that we're mic'd, even though we try to keep it intimate, is we're very much in a capture everything and figure out what to do with it later sort of mentality. So we're recording the conversations here. Scott just handed out a very bland worksheet. The intention of the worksheet is, at least from my point of view, when I'm sitting here listening to a discussion or participating in some kind of brainstorm, there's never enough time to ask the questions or contribute everything. So I start scribbling and I start writing down ideas and I start remembering things I've read or hear someone say that inspired a certain thought or an idea. We want to capture all of those. So with your permission, write up all your ideas, whatever they are, good, bad, complete, incomplete. And at the end, we'll either collect them up, or if you would like to keep them, we'll make a copy of them and give you back the original, and you can walk home with that. But we'll do that in this session, and we'll do it upstairs.